First question, can you state your name and your place of employment?
I'm Andrea Couch, and Director of NCCU Child Development Laboratory School.
Okay, and what is if you could give a range for your salary?
The salary range as a director on the child care just depends on kind of where you are. Whether you're a private entity, whether it's Head Start, but it could range anywhere probably from the 30s up to 80 something thousand. Just
Okay, so what would you say is the future outlook for the proposed job of a director?
You say the future outlook. Well, it all depends on that director. Let's say I can speak particularly on the lab here, being that we are NACE accredited and try to maintain 5-star. So my outlook is to, try to maintain full enrollment at all times, and try not to just obtain the 5-star license or NACE accreditation, but live up to those standards, but also to maintain it.
So what are opportunities for advancement in this field?
Well, I have been an executive director before. It just all depends on the entity where you work. For here, it would not be an advancement here on the university's campus. But I have been at some facilities where I may have been executive director, had 3 directors up under me. One director may have handled education, one handled facilities, and one handled business. So it all just all depends on the entity that you work for.
Okay, and where do you feel like job employment is most abundant? To be a director or to own a daycare facility? Where would you feel like is the best place to maybe start a business or be a director at?
When you say best place, are you mean in terms of?
As far as where you would get the most kids, it would be a profitable area to be in.
Well, it depends. You have to do a community needs assessment. It just depends on, it could vary. It may be, low income areas. It could be on the upper end. But it just all depends. Location is most important. Location really makes a difference, but it may vary. You just have to do a community needs assessment to see what the need is for the area.
Okay, and what are the educational qualifications to be a director?
Well, most places now want you to have at least an undergraduate degree, either in early child education, child development, or education. However, it was a requirement here on the university's campus to have a master's degree.
Okay. So what made you want to get started into having your own daycare or becoming a director here?
Well, here.
Daycare period. What made you get started?
Let me just start here first, because I had no plan on coming back to childcare as a director. Because actually I was doing consulting work prior to coming here, working for myself, going into facilities, assisting them maintaining their rated license or try to help them increase their licensing. However, I never thought I wanted to come back. Well, I knew I didn't want to come back into childcare, but then not childcare, but as a director. But then I heard, your alma mater needs some help in the child development lab, so I decided to come and try to extend my skills and knowledge to try to assist in bringing the lab back to where they were in the past. But I went into childcare. Actually, I was in law enforcement before I came into childcare. So I used to be a probation officer, cop. But when I started having my own children, as my son began to get older, and then I had another child, I decided at that point, I always had a love for children, passion for children, watching them grow. So at that point, I decided to open my own childcare facility.
So what do you feel is the hardest part about your job, or the most challenging thing about what you do?
Well, there could be many challenging things. One could be staffing, not just having a warm body in the classroom, but making sure that you have someone that can maintain that professionalism and provide that nurturing environment for the children. Sometimes it could be the parents. Sometimes you just have some unruly parents that just don't want to adhere to policies and procedures, and you got to know how to handle that. It also could be, at the end of a year, you may have grown attached, because I know all my children. I make sure I know all the kids. I call them by their name. I go in the classroom. I want them to know who I am. And sometimes that, being attached or a child leaving, and you have already gained, got that attachment, that child is attached to you. So it could be a lot of different areas, I think.
So what do you feel is the most important thing about your job?
The most important thing I would say is the health and safety of the children, and ensuring that the environment is conducive to their development and nurturing.
Okay, and what do you look for when you hire employees to work in a daycare that you own and here? What do you look for in employees?
Well, I look for dedication. I look for commitment. I look for, they have a nurturing spirit about themselves. Are they easily angered? Can they handle multiple tasks? Can they multitask? Because when you're in a classroom, with 9 to 17 children, you got to have eyes on every inch of your body. Your ears got to be open at all times. So I look for someone that can multitask, someone that's able to get down on the children's level, and see the children as individuals as well. So I like to kind of do a working interview when they first come in, because a lot of time when you're interviewing people, they just showing you the representative. You're not going to actually know them until they get inside that classroom and actually start working with the children. So those are some things I look for: their education, their background, their dedication.
Okay. And you've owned a at-home daycare before you
A home
started.
and a center.
And okay, so would you recommend for someone? Did you like the at-home daycare better or facility? Which one did you prefer?
I would say that for someone to start out and they've never owned and operated a childcare facility before, even if they want to be a director, I would say having a family childcare home would be a good start, because then therefore you only have a minimum number of kids, and the rules and regulations are not as extensive as they are for centers. And so I think it will be a good start to try to discipline yourself to start out as a family childcare home. I enjoyed them both, really. I think one of the only setbacks with a family childcare home is, and with me at that time, I was a single mom with one son at that time, and I'm very active in my children's school. When you're a family childcare provider, you have to be there just about
All the time.
99% of the time. However, I was blessed to have other people that I hired that can come in when I needed to go and do things or be there with my son. But you got to be able to have the funds in order to pay the person.
Yeah. Okay, so last question. What would be some advice you would give for someone who wants to start their own daycare?
I would say, one, work in the field for a while. I think you should start in the classroom. Work in the classroom and maybe work your way up to management. Get in that field before you just kind of go out on your own and start your own facility. I worked in family child in centers before, prior to actually own and operate my own. I worked in the classroom as a teacher, assistant director, as well as a director before I actually opened my own childcare facility. So I would say understand the rules and regulations, and spend some time in the classroom and working in that setting in order for you to determine whether is it something I really want to do. Because I think years ago people just call it as babysitting. It's not babysitting, especially in North Carolina, because North Carolina has some very stringent rules and regulations, and children's health and safety is kind of top number one rule when it comes to childcare in North Carolina.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Couch.
You're welcome.